So I'm here this morning with Jeff Gottke, who is the president of the Knox County Area Development Foundation, and in that role you also serve as president of the Knox County Land Bank.
That's right.
This is a fascinating building. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. So we're sitting in the former B&O Railroad Depot, built in 1900. The story goes that the B&O sent an architect up here to build two depots, one in Mount Vernon and one in Sandusky. Sandusky was a bigger town, so they were going to build the nicer, more ornate depot up there and get a more nondescript one down here. The story goes that the architect got up to Mount Vernon, got off the train and met a girl and decided to stay for 6 months and build the nicer depot here and the less nice one up in Sandusky.
Well, it certainly is nice. When did they leave here and what happened? What's the history of this land property?
This stopped serving as a passenger depot in the 1960s and then served as some railroad offices and was abandoned for quite some time. And then in 2008, through a public-private partnership with the city of Mount Vernon, it was acquired and refurbished, and the Area Development Foundation moved in last year.
We're here today to look at it's based on, we can see it's the largest transaction any land bank in the state is involved with. Wow. So you have the biggest transaction we're going to be focusing on, 47 acres, 25 buildings. Mm-hmm. How did this relationship come about?
So that particular property has been vacant for about 3 years. We have made numerous attempts to lease the buildings, but for whatever reason, we haven't had much success.
They say you. Had they asked you, the land bank, to be involved in this?
No. So when I say we, I mean Area Development Foundation as the economic development group for the county. So it's right out our back window. I can see it through my office.
Sure,
It's been our number one economic development priority for 3 years, but no movement has happened. Recently, last October, some representatives from the company came and said, you know, we don't really want this anymore. We feel like it's best to be in local control, and we were very glad that they're being community-minded. They understand what that property means to the community and the potential that it has, not only to be repurposed, but the potential it has if it falls into disrepair and vacancy. So we're very grateful that they were so community-minded, and they said, you know, we'd like to turn this over to someone locally.
And have they kept people on site who have maintained the buildings? I mean, maintaining that many buildings cannot be, that's not an inexpensive proposition.
Right. There are currently an on-site maintenance team that maintains all of the systems in the building. So everything works. It's not pretty over there, but it needs a little lipstick, but everything works and it's move-in ready.
So you're going to get a piece of property where the buildings are maintained, mm-hmm. Taxes are current, but it's not without some hair.
Correct.
There is some hair on the deal, so
Correct.
to speak. Okay. What will happen in terms of the development of these? How will your ownership change the picture from what it is currently to what you hope it will be in the future? How do you think the land bank can be more nimble, more agile, and more creative in trying to repurpose those buildings?
Sure. So what our property management and repurposing scheme is, the land bank will hold title to the property, but we're going to create a separate supporting organization to be the on-site property managers and redevelopers. That group will be made up of some facility experts, some finance experts, some local business people, and it's going to be their job to create a vision and a pathway to repurpose that property. Of course, the land bank will have the final say on buyers or lessees or something like that.
Do you have any opinion on that? Would you sell a parcel would you subdivide it and sell them off individually? Do you want to be the landlord? What's your feeling about that?
So the land bank doesn't want to be a landlord. There may be some cases...
Smart, by the way. That's
yes.
Very smart.
There may be some cases where we have to do some leases, and we're not sure if Area Development Foundation may take the lease to a particular building and sublease to a company so that the land bank doesn't have to be a landlord. I guess we're having this conversation with so many questions that we haven't been able to answer yet.
Which hopefully we'll do as part of a discussion we're going to have today. We hope we can reach out to people in this audience and they can offer some suggestions.
I'd love to hear it. As I see it, we have two options. One is parcel up all 47 acres and sell them individually, or keep it together as one and do some kind of industrial park HOA type situation. The way that the utilities are all connected and things, that seems like it's a more reasonable approach, but we haven't quite figured that out, and I'm certainly willing to hear what everybody has to say.
Of the 25 buildings, how many, what's the square footage on all of it? Do you have a number? It's got to be hundreds of thousands of feet.
Almost 700,000.
And how much of that is office space where you could bring in an office user?
About 90,000.
90,000. So of the remaining, let's say 600,000 feet, if it was used for a specific purpose and constructed that way, will that prevent it from being used quickly for something else?
No. There are 4 major industrial facilities over there, and they can accommodate pretty much anything anybody's looking for. I mean, there's 100 cranes over there.
Wow.
On site. One of the buildings is 82 feet in ceiling height.
100 working cranes?
Yes.
Well, there you go. There's a selling point.
Right.
Yeah. But by the way, speaking of selling points, any interest so far in any of the buildings?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Do you hope to have those people in sometime in 2020 or even sooner?
There's one company that's waiting for the land bank to have the lease so they can sign a lease. They've been waiting since March. So we're hoping to move somebody in quickly. And that'll help offset our costs too.
Sure.
As well.
Warehousing space, I imagine there's plenty of warehouse space over there.
There's about 30,000 square feet of dedicated warehouse space, but there's also some smaller buildings kind of spread out that could work for that as well.
Plenty of opportunities.
Lots.
Yeah, well, This is exciting, and we look forward to touring the site with you.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to add?
No, I think you said it. This is opportunity, and this facility lends itself well to the makeup of the county. Our history is a manufacturing county. We make things here, and we've got some facilities now that are available to help meet the demand for the local workforce to continue that.
All right, so I'm with Doug Scholl, who is with the Ohio Equities Group, and you were working for the land bank and helping to market these amazing properties when they take possession next month.
Exactly right, yes.
Where are we now?
We are standing inside the main production facility, which includes it's a total of 117,000 square feet. Previous corporation manufactured jet turbines in here. The unique features about this particular property is it's I would call oversupply of cranes that range anywhere from 2-ton capacity up to 50 tons. Several of them includes a welding shop, its own internal blast booth, and also its own internal paint booth. Plenty of clear height, truly a unique property from the standpoint of the features that I just mentioned in comparison to what you might find definitely here in central Ohio and maybe several parts of the state as well.
So I learned today, Doug, this initially was the Cooper's company, and Cooper sold to Rolls-Royce.
Yes.
And Rolls-Royce sold to the company, we're not allowed to mention their name here today, the multinational corporation.
Exactly.
And at one time you're producing more turbine engines here than anywhere in the country, I understand.
From the standpoint of engines, I think at one time it was diesel engines.
Diesel engines.
But then when when Rolls-Royce got involved, then they went more to the jet turbines, which this international company then absorbed that entire business, and that's how they came to be in possession of this plant.
So it's your job to go out there, and they're out there. The question is finding them, to find what company might be interested in a space like this, with cranes like this, in this capacity, and that's what you're going to be doing. How do you do that as a realtor?
Well, by targeted marketing and a lot of research. At Ohio Equities, we're, I wouldn't say uniquely involved in research, but we do spend a lot of money and a lot of time on targeting companies through the research that we're equipped to make. And what my job will be is to focus that effort as much on the manufacturing industry as possible. We're developing lists right now that will enable us to target manufacturers not only in the state but also regionally, nationally, and now internationally.
Will you be working with Jobs Ohio and other state agencies?
Absolutely, yes, yeah. They've been a big help to us from the standpoint of feeding us possible prospects for this property, whether it be this property or the several others that are on this campus. They have in the past produced prospects from in-state as well as out-of-state, and in a couple of instances came from Europe as well. So we know there's a market out there for companies that want to make things. I think you'll find with this campus, it wasn't built and designed for distribution. It's built with a primary focus on companies that want to come here to manufacture.
Having said that, if somebody steps forward and says, look, we'd like to use some of this for something other than manufacturing, for example, warehousing, you could do that, I imagine.
Absolutely, yes. We have a couple of buildings here that are more designed to provide the facilities that you need to do things like that, because those particular buildings I'm thinking of have loading docks plus drive-in doors, which for a distribution type of use is much more amenable to things like that, because you've got a high volume of turnover and inventory inbound as well as outbound.
And you have office space, about 90,000 feet here of office building.
Yes, right.
And do you think that will be an ancillary use to a user of this, or could it be an independent, separate users, combination of?
Well, we kind of both, really.
Yeah.
But we fully intend to segment the office portion of the campus and go after users that really have no need to make things. They have a need to be in Central Ohio, and more specifically maybe in Knox County. But we have buildings here that could accommodate users from the standpoint of space as small as maybe 10,000 square feet up to 60,000 square feet. The thing we'll find as we go through the campus is it's unique in the fact that it's not one building of 670,000 square feet. It's a variety of buildings, between 20 and 25 different freestanding buildings in various sizes, which allows us now to accommodate various users. We're not targeting one single user as has been the past in the history of this campus.
And what'll be nice for this community is if you've got 15, 20 independent companies operating here, one of those companies should go out, the others are still there, as opposed to the situation you had here before where the single user said, I'm gone, and you have all this empty space.
That's we feel one of the great advantages to this campus, because now we can target more specifically uses that we solicit,
right,
versus buildings on campus that could fill that particular need. Right. Each building has its own unique features. There's nothing common about any of them in comparison to the balance of them. And I think that what we find is that once we get rolling with the marketing program, which will happen very, very soon, we think that we'll be able to once again target what we have and let the market, not only locally but also to the world, know what we have in Mount Vernon, Ohio.
Great. Come back next year and see the progress.
Please come back, and I think you'll see the results of what we're doing.
Thank you.